Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Comes to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for August 15th, 2021 with your host, Peacebreaker2448 and Ramped Epsilon.
Hi. I know what I did. I meant to do that.
Accurate. This is incredibly accurate, to be honest.
What was bad was when I was originally just gonna get something for the 01 movie. Because literally our notes for the Saber, whatever you want to call it, would result in fight scene.
I mean, 90% of it is a fight scene.
And then I happened to see one where they had it for the poster split. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that one. I'm sure there's individual posters. I am gonna do that.
Not only are there individual posters, there are multiple posters per movie. There is multiple posters for the Saber movie. It just focuses on the different writers that are appearing. So you've got like Saber in Falchion, and then like Blades in Espada, and then there's a Buster and Kenzan one. It might be Saber on his own, and then everyone else gets paired up. I don't remember.
So there's different posters for the members of the Sentai team. I mean, the Saber team.
I mean, they're essentially a Sentai team, to be honest.
When it tried to make this big thing about the 5 of them, no doubt on that one, show up, I'm like, you guys realize this is Rider, not Sentai, right? we don't have to do this.
Yeah. So yeah, folks, as you can see, we are talking Kamen Rider Saber, the Phoenix Swordsman, and the Book of Ruin, or shortened to the Phoenix Swordsman, or as I had it titled in the title of the notes, Eternal Swordsman, because I didn't remember what the title of this movie was.
Nor did you care.
Exactly. And Kamen Rider 01, Real X Time, or Real Time. I don't know how this is supposed to be pronounced.
I don't know actually either.
But both of these movies were released December 18th, 2020 as a double billing because COVID pushed the 01 movie back. Well, both the 01 movie and, at the time, the running Sentai The Kira Major movie back from their initial release dates. What ended up happening was the 01 movie came out here in a double billing with a Saber special that may or may not...
With a Saber episode, you mean?
I don't know if this was meant to be a movie at one point or not, because there's some odd things in this that I'm like, was this supposed to be a movie? And then you just shorten it to like 30 minutes.
It feels like, to me, this was supposed to be the solo movie. And we were supposed to have more invested in our punching bag for 30 minutes.
That is played by Kamen Rider.
22 minutes, might I change that to.
By our Kamen Rider, or writer that is played by Kamen Rider Alpha Amazon from Amazon's actor. Hi, Jin.
But, yeah. Yeah. It feels like this was that last big 30-minute fight sequence that you usually get at the end.
But that pushed the 01 movie to here, and also had to go through rewrites because since it was going to be post-series, they had to go through rewrites, which is why Naki and Raiden are de-emphasized and do not become writers in the movie because they didn't know what their fates were going to be by the end of the show. Because this had to be written while they were doing the finale of the show.
And while said finale of the show was getting rewritten as well.
Yep. Also, everything with Izu had to be factored in.
I like how they did it, though.
Yeah.
Like, that was a tricky one that could have went way worse than it did.
Mm-hmm. But the Kamen Major movie actually got pushed further back. It got pushed to, I believe, February, and it got released as a triple feature, because you had the Kamen Major movie, you had a Ryu Solger special that featured the return of Nada, who was Ryu Soul or Guy Soul in the series, and was a little like in the middle of the show special, and also the debut of the Zenkaigers in their own little like special, which featured the appearance of every single Red Sentai Ranger in suit for like doing a pose twice and then not much else, because they don't even get a fight scene. Because much like the Saber one, it has to be like 30 minutes, so we can't do a whole lot. And I believe the Ryu Silver one is also like 30 minutes. The Kamen Major is like a proper, I think, hour-long movie. I have not seen the Kamen Major movie, nor the Ryu Silver special. I've only just recently seen the Zenkaiger special. So yeah, COVID pushed things around a lot. And for those wondering, do 01 and Saber get a crossover? No. Considering Saber is over in... Well, it's technically over this week. There is one more episode that is a special next week, but for all intents and purposes, Saber is over. The only thing we get in terms of these two writers meeting is the one fight scene they get to be together in Superhero Senki, which took the place of a Saber summer movie this year. So, for the first time in literally 10 years, we do not have a winter crossover film of the previous and current writer series.
I'm kind of fine with that, though.
Yeah. But, and depending on how plans go, we don't know if there's going to be a Saber Revice crossover, because we don't know what movie plans are going forward, because, you know, this shuffled all the movie plans into fucking, I don't know, territory, because every bit of like traditional timing of movies is just out the door. So we'll have to wait and see in a few months from when we are doing this to see how all this turns out. But we're going to talk about the Saber movie first. Its writer is Takeru Fukuda, who is the main writer of Ghost. And I found this out the other day when there was talk of like how many episodes he wrote of Saber and Ghost. Would you like to take a guess on the number of episodes he's written of Saber?
Not really, seeing as how, you know, he didn't write a lot of Ghost.
He actually wrote less of Saber than he did of Ghost. He wrote 14 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote 22 episodes of Ghost. And I was wondering how consistent that is, because, you know, a writer writing the whole series themselves is a bit rare in writer.
Right.
Honestly, around 28 episodes is about the average from the couple series I was looking at.
But out of said other series that you were looking at, were they uber scattered like Ghost and Saber has been, or were they fairly consistent early on enough to build the groundwork?
I think it's more they do a good chunk of the early bit, and then they do the major stuff, some like of the major lines in the middle sometimes, and then they're there for the finale. And by finale, I mean like the last maybe 4 or 5 episodes.
I mean, like that makes sense, because then that kind of, it doesn't cause burnout.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're there for a good chunk at the beginning, you've kind of set the groundwork.
Right.
Anyone else can kind of walk in, do their own thing, and as long as it still feels like a part of the show, then it's going to work.
Right. And there's also, I would have to assume, communication between the different writers. If a secondary writer is writing episodes, these are things they can do, these are things they can't do, if you're going to be progressing things. Because oddly enough, Riku Sanjo, who did Double, because that was one of the shavers I was looking at, didn't write some of the important episodes in the middle. Riku Sanjo didn't write the Axel trial debuts. Or debut episodes. That was one of the secondary writers.
Huh.
So technically, Riku Sanjo didn't write some of the important episodes. That fell onto the secondary writers, which I think is like the key difference and like the key thing here is that the secondary writers of Ghost and Saber have to more or less seem like they have to be in holding patterns because they aren't given the ability to do the important stuff. That tends to fall on Fukuda. So it's only when Fukuda gets to show up, he gets to do the important things. Unless it's technically the finale of Ghost, because I believe the last 5 episodes of Saber are not being written by Fukuda. They're actually being written by Keiichi Hasegawa, who is a secondary writer of Saber. And a prominent secondary writer in general. So Fukuda's not even ending his own show in terms of writing. Which is odd. Because I also tried to see if he was busy with other stuff, and I couldn't find credits of other projects he'd be working on at the same time. Unless he's working on projects that aren't out yet, and that are still in production.
Maybe, or maybe they're realizing that Saber's fallen into the same kind of trap Ghost was.
I know sales-wise it hasn't done the best.
So maybe that's a case of that.
Yeah.
Where they're like, well, we'll get someone else in here and maybe they can salvage this.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because, I mean, especially coming off of a big show like 01 that kind of fumbled at the end but still kind of pulled it off.
Yeah.
I have to wonder if maybe they're looking at Saber a little harder than they did Ghost. Because we kind of had Drive to bring us back down to the normal for Rider, and then Ghost was another down.
Yeah. I'm also wondering how Revice is going to go, because Revice will now be the second show, depending on when we can officially declare an end to the pandemic, might be the second entire show produced during the pandemic. So I'm wondering if maybe some lessons learned from Saber might follow in.
Hopefully.
Because somebody brought up a really good point. I forgot who it was. Brought up a good point about the suits and how like the suits have to go through cleaning and stuff between shoots because of COVID restrictions. Which means that suits might not be available for a certain length of time when they're filming episodes, which could explain the overuse of some suits. Because I know Dragonic Knight pretty much gets the shaft, and it's like the best looking suit in Saber. But anywho, director for Book of Ruin as well is Takayuki Shibasuke, who's done a lot of Rider. I believe we've talked about him before.
I feel like we have.
Yeah. And for those that are wanting to see where this falls in continuity, this is between episodes 10 and 11 of Saber.
That doesn't really matter.
It does, because our villain in this movie shows up for several episodes of Saber later in its run. Like several episodes. Like,
okay.
He has more screen time in the show than in this movie.
All I'm gonna say to this is the simple fact that we didn't really get any kind of showcasing on the books that were used in the movie, because I did catch that much, at least, that there was extra books than where I dropped the show.
Okay.
I didn't care, because they kind of didn't make it a point to, say anything about them. So, like, cool.
I believe episode 10.
I kind of feel like if you know the premise of Saber and maybe know the at least of the characters here, then you're probably fine.
I don't remember exactly, but I believe episode 10 is the episode where Espada gets his third book, which is the latest thing in all of the books used in this movie besides Emotional Dragon. So that's the only reason why. Which is hilarious, because that's right in the middle of a major revelation in the series.
I mean...
Oops.
I mean, that's not the first time.
Also, I'm going to check something else real quick.
And I'm completely meaning that because of the fact of, yeah. Wasn't it Sparkling actually had a double debut?
Pretty much.
Because it got finished in a movie and then got finished in the show. If you follow continuity, so yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Okay, I was wondering when Kento takes a death and goes on to respawn, or goes off to respawn. It's 2 episodes after this movie debuts.
I
was wondering, like, wait, does he die in the next episode after this movie? No, it's the episode after.
You know what would have been funnier? If he died the episode before.
Yeah. Okay, I say die. He dies, and then we take a mulligan on it, and then we have him re-die, so we can do it better. It sounds as stupid as I make it sound. So yeah, where did you leave off on Saber?
I think it was actually right around Buster's debut.
So, like, episode, like, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So this is your first time seeing Kenzan in Slash.
Yes.
So how do you feel about the two of them?
I mean, I can't justify anything after seeing this movie. Because it's like, the movie really is emphasizing only the fight sequence, because I feel like this had a premise, and when they went to cut it, they said, oh, everyone likes a fight sequence, let's just cut it from here on.
Yeah. I was curious if you had any opinions of them, because the general opinion of the two of them is Kenzan is a goblin child and nobody likes him. And everyone likes Slash because he's got a personality. And that's it.
You know what's really bad, though?
What?
You couldn't really grasp either of those out of this movie.
I mean, that's the Kenzan's benefit, at least.
Fair. But yeah.
For those wondering, I am up to date on Saber thanks to Hakili's streams, because I did not watch several episodes of Saber subbed for a few weeks because this show burned all of my goodwill at the end of December, and then made every choice that made me very upset at the show. So I was kind of done and didn't care. And nothing that the show has done in these final few episodes has made me like feel better about the show. Even though I think some people have felt that the show's gotten better, but honestly, I feel like it's still the same show. And all things considered,
it's one of those. The few comments when I was in his stream yesterday made me realize that his taste of writer and ours are two very different ones.
Yeah.
And it's one of those that when he was saying about watching Kabuto, I was so thinking, you probably don't want to do that. But then after the comments that he's made about both 01 and Saber, I'm like, okay, you might actually like it then.
Yeah.
You might be in the camp of liking it. I'll give you that.
I know people who like Kabuto. I think we are technically in the minority on Kabuto.
I don't really care.
Fair. It's why I've tried to never say in anyone's chat that I don't like Kabuto, because I feel like I am speaking heresy.
It's one of those. Granted, it also kind of comes down to some of the stuff he was saying. I give him points on what he said about 01. There's a lot of stuff in there that, yeah, if you stick through to the end, it does feel out of place.
Mm-hmm.
But early on, yeah, no. Even after rewatching it, no. There's the problem with the job competition might be the thing I would let someone argue about.
Yeah.
Only because I have seen it from both sides of it. It's not bad when you can binge watch it. It's bad when you have to wait a week to watch the next episode.
Yeah, and I've seen actually someone comment that Ghost felt better on a binge watch when you were able to watch it in chunks. And I'm like, I wonder if that's why we felt better about Ghost.
I think
when we did it for the podcast, because we binged it 4 episodes a week.
I think it is. Because we were getting burned out on Ghost. But granted, at the same time, look how far we both went on the week to week.
Yeah.
We both thought we stopped a lot farther back than we did.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be another one of those that it's like, yeah, the show sucks on the week to week basis. You're better off to kind of binge watch it.
Yeah, I've seen one of the people I follow say that exact thing about Saber, of it is better better on a binge, but all the problems still exist. It just doesn't feel as bad because you don't have a week wait between single episodes.
I think the other thing with 01 is if you take out all the specials, like the site that I was watching it through did, it actually makes the Arc Zero stuff work better. I think the fact that they had to pad it is what made it worse.
Yeah.
Because I do remember the fact that they kind of padded it and really made it feel like, which it probably was the intended path, like the new CEO for Zio was supposed to be Arc 1. That probably was the case. I'm not saying that wasn't. But watching the week to week and all the specials, that kind of felt like that's what that was playing up. Take that out, it just feels like, okay, guys lost everything now. Cool, moving on.
Okay, I've honestly had a pitch of, okay, if we had all of the lost episodes of 01, what would you do with them? I would have the pitch of guy faked his face turn, tries to frame Aruto as Arc 1, and then it's just an entire episode where everyone's going like, wait, who the fuck's Arc 1? Because Aruto's missing, Izu's missing, Guy's only phoning in, but you see the Thouser suit, so it's just maybe he's just in the Thouser suit all the time. But the end of episode reveals that he's Arc 1 and he faked this face turn. And he's went full heel. And he's just like, I have what I want now, which was the Arc's tech all along. Now you all die.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I have to wonder, though, if you remove Aruto from being Arc 1, does that also mean you remove Izu dying?
You can go 50-50 on that. I wouldn't, just to not have to worry about trying to bring her back later on.
Well, that's one of those that I'm like, as close of a relationship as they had, if you still kill her, then I think you still wind up with Aruto being a form of Arc 1, even if it's not Arc 1 proper. Which, by doing that, then in turn means that you have Hirobi with his Arc form.
Right.
Meaning that then technically we still have the same ending?
Right. I think with my pitch, I wouldn't have the two of them in Arc forms. I would have them just in their writer forms, and it would just be a case of, well, we dealt with Guy, and then we're trying to get rid of the Arc driver again, and then Hirobi was like, I'm getting rid of this because I don't trust any of you, because now I see that humans can fall to being Arcs, and fuck this shit. So it just becomes a battle between Aruto and Hirobi over, look, we both fucked up. Things have fucked up, but we can make something better out of this. We don't have to go to war over this. It can just be the two of us fighting it out. Like, you keep all of what the fight meant, but you remove all of the Arc stuff about it. And it's just the two of them more or less having a fight to argue about, the core, their core ideologies. You just have the same result.
I could see that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've got a really big question on, which granted works with your idea, because I mean the downfall of Guy after he's defeated would lead to the new CEO of Zaya.
Yeah.
But what if we don't even have that part of it with Guy? What was the original intent? Is what I'm kind of curious on. Because there would have to be something. You'd have to have time to build the character. And would we have still had that time even with those episodes added back in?
You might have had at least 4 episodes and an additional 4 episodes.
Which would that have been enough time to have done a proper backstory to that degree?
I'd be honest, if there's anything I'd cut, I just cut him outright. If I'm gonna have him exist, he just exists to take over Zaya, and that's it. He's just someone to take over Zaya if we need Zaya in the future.
I'm not necessarily meaning as far as your end. I'm meaning what. Yeah. I'm kind of curious as to what the writing team had planned to begin with him.
Like, he has things that go into the Metsubo Jinrai movie, but not as much. So I honestly don't know.
Because that's probably got to be the one thing out of the way 01 ended, if you remove the specials, that I'm just like, that one-off scene, I don't quite get why they left that in. That had to be some kind of remnant that they had from the original ending that they felt necessary to keep in. Mm-hmm. Because, case in point, if he's got any kind of importance in the Metsubo Jinrai movies, then why didn't we just introduce him there?
Because I think he plays a large role in the Project Towser stuff, which also ties into the Metsubo. Essentially, he's there for all of the ancillary media nonsense for 01. And I think that's just the point of his character, is that he's there for the ancillary media. He's not there for the show proper.
But why not just introduce him there?
I know. That's the problem.
That's the whole reason why I'm like, they had to have a bigger plan.
Yeah.
And I'm puzzled on why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can figure everything else out. It's him that I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you were going to do with him. I can see where everything else you were going to do something with. Him, no. There must be something more.
And I mean, one logical explanation could be that they were intending maybe Guy to have some kind of a face turn. And this new mystery guy that took over is now who's going to be Arc 1.
Maybe?
But it also feels like it's too out of left field kind of deal.
Yeah, that doesn't... if that was to be the case, that does not feel as satisfying as what we got properly in series, or if you threw Arc 1 on anyone else, to be honest. Because to have an 11th hour introduction person, unless we go deep into his relationship with Koronosuke and more with Daybreak Town, there's nothing there with him. Because that's also one thing I feel like we really didn't do in 01 was we never really got into Koronosuke and Guy's relationship at all.
Yeah.
Because Koronosuke also doesn't exist as a character in the series or in any piece of media, really.
Yeah, that's kind of bad when the GO01 maybe actually gives you more screen time than anything else.
Yeah. But now that we've talked about the 01 more than we've talked about Saber, shall we just run through this movie real quick?
I mean, yeah. Because, I mean, let's be honest. This movie, at its core, can be summed up as fight sequence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, kick off. We start with the beginning of the final fight of the movie as Falchion face-offs against Saber in his new emotional dragon form. What's emotional dragon? We'll get there. Don't worry, it won't take long. So we rewind back to the beginning where Toma is encouraging this kid to go play with some other kids and play soccer, and then he says his catchphrase.
All in shadow where you can't really tell that it's him.
Except it's his voice.
Uh-huh.
So, the fuck?
Yeah, I don't get why we did that, because I was like, okay, why?
But then we cut to the Wonder World, where Bacht has broken out of the Book of Ruin, I guess? He's broken out of a book, and he's going to send the world to the void, as Tassel pretty much explains the plot of the movie of, oh no, he broke out of the book, he's gonna destroy everything, oh no! Because Tassel he's pretty much the sage of the series, except he gets to narrate bits and exist outside the fourth wall until the show needs him to be inside the fourth wall and be a character in the series. He's very confusing. I don't understand. Because I thought he was just going to be narrator character until he started popping up in the show proper, being an actual character. And I'm like, what? Wait. Do all your narration scenes actually happen in show? Because sometimes characters show up in those narration scenes, and that's a plot point. So this causes destruction in the real world. And the kid is on a bridge observing all of this, along with random schoolgirl and random guy in a business suit that I think are casualties of this being cut down to 30 minutes if this was a summer movie, because the movie keeps cutting to them, but does not give them lines and does not give them names, but is important enough to see their reaction to things. So they must have been characters at some point. Because why have them here and not just the kid?
Because, I mean, you've got to have useless people.
Apparently. So, as this destruction happens, May, of all people, shows up on the bridge and is like, don't worry, the riders will come and save the day. And thus we see Toma, aka Saber, Rentaro, aka Blades, Kento, aka Espada, Ryo, aka Buster, Rin, aka Kenzan, and Daisenji, aka Slash, walk onto set and go, well, world's getting blown up, we should go fix that. And then they all transform and go fix it.
Doing the most Rider Sentai transformation ever.
Yep. Thankfully, it's not as long as their actual transformations in the show.
Thank God.
Because Saber has a bad habit of doing stupid long transformations, and I hate every single one of them.
Okay, I'm just going to put this out here because we also get the villain transform right around this time. If they did the long, drawn-out transformations for all 6 of them, that would literally be the 30 minutes right there.
Yep. Yeah.
That is the whole reason why I dropped the show as early as I did, is because of them.
Yeah, Faustian transforms as well. It wants to blow up the world because, honestly, I forget his motivations because, to be honest, he is not a character in this. He is a suit to be punched. If you want his character, you have to watch the episodes he appears in series. I do say episodes plural.
I mean, pretty much the way that I grasped it is he wanted to destroy the world because of humans.
Pretty much.
Because literally every bit of his argument, and even Toma's counter argument that they were having during this battle, was completely pointless. And was just a case of life exists, so it must end.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So this is classic Good versus bad. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did
So
we
Toma's
really
the
need
only
all
one.
those words?
Yeah. So Toma's the only one that gets to fight Falchion. The other 5 riders fight all the goons. That this movie, the first couple episodes of the show, and then I believe the second most recent episode is the most that these villains, these goon suits get to be used. I don't know why these goon suits are so underutilized in Saber. But the 5 of them are just blowing up goons left, right, and center. They all get to show off their highest form changes at the time. So for Blades and Espada, it's their 3-book combos. For Buster, Slash, and Kenzon, it's their extra book, which all three of them are story books. Buster's is Jack and the Beanstalk. Kenzon's is 3 Pigs. And Slash's is Berman No Rock Band. So yeah, they blow those up. Toma's on the back foot for most of the fight until he goes Crimson Dragon, which is his proper 3-book combo. He blows up Bach, except Bach respawns because he's Phoenix. Therefore, I get to respawn forever. Go fuck yourself. And then he blows up Toma until Toma is standing there with his sword on fire like, fuck you, I still live! So he sends out, I guess the name of it is Brave Dragon? That's the actual name of the dragon? So that hits Bach. It then hits the book that's causing all the destruction, and it releases a black dragon and a white dragon, and then the 3 of them fuse into a new book called Emotional Dragon, which is a repaint of Calibur's upgrade. Well, the book is. So Toma goes Emotional Dragon, which is a modified version of his Crimson Dragon suit with Forze shield repainted. I give them credit. This is actually I like this suit.
Yeah.
I like this as a movie suit.
And oddly enough, it actually fits.
Yeah.
It almost kind of makes me wish that we did have the full movie.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of this cut down fight sequence.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like it would actually give it a reason to be here.
Mm-hmm. I think the only thing I don't like about it is how wonky the belt looks, because you have to slot the books in the proper slot, and since Emotional Dragon is like a mythical beast book, it goes in the first slot next to where you slot the sword in. But it's a big book that opens up, so it opens up in the direction of the sword. So you just have this big ass book on the one side of the driver and nothing else. It looks bad.
Fair.
But Toma does a rider kick. Rider kicks Falchion back into the book along with the other dragons so that they can all appear later in the series, because Emotional Dragon even gets to show up in the show. And for those wondering, yes, this movie is canon. They do reference the events of this movie. All parties involved reference this movie. So this is canon. And everything goes back to normal. The kid goes play soccer. The schoolgirl goes, hangs out with her friends, and then Business Suit Guy goes and does something I don't fucking remember. And then everybody torments Rentaro about in Claire's, and that's the end of the movie. So what'd you think?
I mean, I guess it was a good fight sequence.
Yeah, like Saber has some good choreography and stuff when it is invested in them.
As far as actually being a movie, no.
Yeah. I've watched Sentai movies that are better than this because they actually attempt to have a plot. This does not have a plot. This shoves a punching bag in front of us and we go punch him for 20 minutes.
Yep. This is... Oh, you like fight sequence? What if the whole thing was a fight sequence?
Mm-hmm. So it is honestly a very forgettable piece of Saber. And to be honest, you can probably watch the show and ignore this because the show will tell you everything you need to know for this movie. And you can skip it.
So the show tells you that they punched stuff and he got out of the book that, or he got back in the book that he got out of.
He got put back in the book until the guy who's in charge of the Swords of Logos decides, by the way, I'm bad guy. I'm going to bring him out because I need his sword. So have fun fighting him again. Also, I'm going to bring Emotional Dragon back for exactly one fight scene as well. Before it just goes poop. And by one fight scene, I mean one sword slash and then it's gone. I will also point out that that one of the episodes this happens in is that gif of Toma running up those CGI stairs that I've shown you.
Oh.
So yeah, this is a fairly forgettable movie. But we have a better movie to talk about now. Because we shall talk about Real X Time. Because this is written by Yuya Takahashi, who is the main writer of X-Agent-01. And it's directed by Teruaki Sugihara, who is a director of 01 and Saber. So he's a fairly new director, I think. Because all of his directing credentials for writer are 01 and Saber. And for continuity's sake, this is 3 months after the finale, and also technically after the final stage show, because the final stage show is canon? Question mark.
So then, technically, does that mean that the final scene in 01 where Eden's handed the driver and the key actually happened like 3 months after the ending?
That happens 3 months before. That happens directly after the finale of the show.
So he's had this entire time.
Yes. He has been working on this for 3 months. This is the culmination of his plan. I believe. I don't know.
Okay.
The movie doesn't really get into that part.
Yeah, that part's kind of just there. And I'm like, wait, do we actually have a time skip in the final show? Or the final episode? Or is he actually just, had this power this long and chose to sit on it?
Yeah. I know the final stage show doesn't make reference to Eden at all. And all it is Azu decides, I'm going to go fuck up the riders myself, and becomes Arc 01, which is a red repaint of Arc 1, and brings back Mr. Assassin to be Arc 0, which means every single member of Metsubo Jinrai but Naki got to be Arc 0, which is weird that Naki was the only one not to be Arc 0. I don't know if there's a reason behind that or not, but that just is what happened. And essentially, all the riders fight them. They blow up little Mr. Assassin again, and they stop Azu, but she doesn't get blown up because she thusly appears in this movie. So, any thoughts going into this movie?
No.
All right, then. Kick off we do another flash forward to flashback because we start in the middle of the fight that will take place in exactly 2 minutes. So I don't know why we do the flash forward flashback on this.
Unless it's like trying to set the mood kind of deal.
Probably.
Seeing as we really kind of have not really the big fight, but kind of, I guess, really more the important fight. Because this kind of sets the ground for the rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And since we kind of have it early, I guess that's one of those more this is where we're at concept.
Mm-hmm. But 02 and Eden, who is our villain writer for the movie, are fighting in a blacklit room, which is a really good shot fight scene.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it doesn't last the entire fight. But we cut to new Izu being contacted by old Izu, telling her, by the way, you need to come grab this stuff because Arto's kind of fucked. Essentially. It's not what she actually says, but I feel like that's the implication of old Izu realizes, oh, Arto's not winning this. Oh, Arto's going to do something stupid. You need to get your ass here now so we can stop him from doing something incredibly stupid.
So Arto's gonna be himself.
Yes. But when this happens, we rewind a few minutes to before this countdown timer starts, and we essentially get Eden's whole spiel of he wants to create a paradise, and him and his followers will do such that by destroying the world. And he is given a 1 hour deadline for I guess everyone to make peace because the world blows up in an hour.
We're heading out. All aircraft report.
And he's more or less challenged Arto to come try and stop me. So I love how Arto just shows up at 02 because it's like, I ain't fucking around.
Yeah, but you know, the way they keep on doing it, shouldn't he have just showed up in Realizing Hopper? Oh wait, that one only exists when it's plot convenient.
Pretty much.
Sorry. Yeah. It's like we've said, no, 02's the final form.
Mm-hmm.
They need to quit pushing that.
Yeah. So the two of them fight, do their whole blacklight fight until they open the roof, and then it's sunlight. And outside the building are tons of Eden's followers, which Eden's real name is Ezu, and his followers are a part of ThinkNet, I believe. That's the name of their organization.
Yes.
They're essentially a doom cult, or a death cult. And they think Eden is their savior, more or less. But
now, yeah, let that sink in just a little bit there.
Mm-hmm. But thousands of them are surrounding the building, you know, going like, "Oh, hey, Eden, go Eden," and all that hoopla. But back in the fight, Arto manages to get a good hit in with the attached caliber, but we soon see that Eden has health regen. So,
More than just health regen.
Yeah, he grows back a whole arm because Arto takes a whole arm off because, like I said, Arto's not fucking around. He knows exactly what an arc writer is capable of, and no, this guy's going down. Brutally if necessary. But yeah, he just regrows an entire arm, and he's like, oh, shit. And then we see that several of his followers are dispatched around the world and in the city and start dropping these gas canisters on people that knock people unconscious. We see Ames, or we see Ames with Yaiba and Naki deploy. We see Fua. I don't think, do we see Fua deploy at all? I forget if we see him like walk from somewhere. I think we do, because I think he's catching a broadcast of the fight.
I think we do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we see that. We see Guy in his new office in the basement see this and takes the Bowser driver and stuff to go fight. And then we see Hirobi and Jin, who are just hanging out on a rooftop. And we see Jin just load his gun. This is like, well, we're gonna go fucking kill some people, I guess. Yeah, they are all over the world, attacking every major city. So, yeah, world's at stake, folks. But Aruto and Eden continue their fight until Eden decides enough of this, pops his finisher, which summons a pool of, I think it's supposed to be blood, and like these crystal blood pillars that manage to outperform Zero Two's predictive capabilities and just wrecks him. Because it knocks him around enough for Eden to close the distance, steal the 0-2 driver, knocking Aruto away. Which Aruto's like, fucking, I got another driver. Tries to go proper, regular Rising Hopper, because it is the Rising Hopper progress key he tries to put in the 0-1 driver. But Eden's like, I don't need you anymore, and then tries to just blow him up. Which, thankfully, the first part of his suit forms to protect him as he's slammed through 3 buildings. And then as he's falling down from the 3rd building, the grasshopper for Rising Hopper breaks most of his fall as he slams into a car below and is knocked unconscious. So that's Aruto done for a chunk of the movie.
At least in the real world.
Yeah. But at this point, Eden takes the 0-2 progress key and inserts it into the 1000 Jacker that he has. That is his instrument of destruction. Because...
Of course it is.
Yeah. So he slots it in and pulls the handle on it to, like, utilize the creation ability of the 0-2 progress key. Which would technically be just the 0-2 driver in general, but we gotta make it the progress key to make it simple. So it can be slotted into a thing. So he's beginning his proper plan, and then we cut to Aruto, who's on an empty train, which is kind of spooky. Because he wakes up, he's sitting on a seat on this train, and then he gets up and he looks, and you see right, and he looks to his right, and there's just 3 empty cars. You see like 3 cars deep. They're all empty. And it's the same to his left. And I believe this is because, you know, they were filming this movie during COVID stuff. So public transportation's pretty empty. They could have a train be empty for like the 20 minutes they need to film the scene. Which, kind of a bonus, I guess?
I guess.
But he does see the one lone passenger getting out of the train when it gets to a station, and there's just dozens of people unconscious at the station, and this lady's the only person awake. So he starts following her, asking her, what the fuck's the deal with this place? And she's like, this is hell. This is a bad place. And just keeps walking away as he keeps asking questions, and she just kind of answers them every now and again. Because we can't have her drop all the exposition at once, I guess.
No, not until we get to the... That's great, I'm gonna say it. Not until we get to the church.
Yeah.
I was like, should I say that? But nah, I'm going to.
Yeah. But meanwhile, we catch up with Ames as Yaiba and the rest of Ames. I guess plus Naki in the back of the van, who's not gonna be a writer in this movie because... to be honest, I wish Naki like suited up for the movie. Like, Raiden, I'm okay with because, he's probably the most disposable of the Metsubo Jinrai quartet. But Naki's at the fight scenes. Why don't they get to fight? But Yaiba and Ames managed to fight off the Abaddons, but two of the main ones managed to knock out an old couple that we see pop up in the place where Aruto and this girl are, which, just to get it out of the way, they're in a simulation of sorts on some servers, and people's consciousness are getting transferred to these servers, except I guess it's not perfect because they're not waking up. At least I assume it's not perfect, because I don't think anyone wakes up that gets hit by the gas and stuff.
You're right.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes me wonder on that.
Mm-hmm. But as she's like slowly dealing out information, we check in with Guy real quick as he intercepts the Zion employee to be like, I know you did some backroom deals and sold some of my tech. You're coming with me. It just fucking body checks him and drags him off the hidden intelligence. It's the most productive thing Guy does all movie.
I mean, true.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Fuba fights more Abaddons. Hirobi shows up by jumping off the top of this tall-ass building to just land and then fight the Abaddons, because Hirobi gotta be extra like that. I don't know why he's at the top of this very tall building to start with.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't know why they're all at the bottom of this very tall building.
True.
I mean,
but they fight.
You gotta get the style points.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't get upgrades.
Very true, although Hirobi showcases why he doesn't need an upgrade. But the two of them fight off the Abaddons. The main ones just kind of go away. And that's when Izu shows up with a message from Aruto and a special Zayabek and contact lens. The same thing happens to Yaiba, because she fights off a lot of the Abaddons on her own, which is part of the reason why I say Naki should be in this movie as a writer, to give Yaiba someone to fight with. You know, since Naki's a part of Ames. I wish we got more of Yaiba and Naki as Ames, to be honest, because I think would be something interesting to do.
True.
My pitch is still, like, I want some sort of, like, crime-solving special or V-Cinema with the two of them. Because we don't really get Ames as an investigation organization. We just get them as, like, a military organization. And I assume they do investigative stuff, right? Because that's implied in the series.
Implied, but never actually acted upon, so...
Yeah, I would like to see, like, the two of them, like, trying to solve a human gear-based crime that happens. Because I think that would be fun. But yeah, Yaiba drives them off, and then Shesta shows up to deliver the same stuff to her, and then they get the message from Aruto. Which the Zayas-Spec and the contact lens protects them from the gas, so they don't have to wear the gas mask thing they've been wearing so far. How that works, I don't know. It just does.
I mean, it's better than them having the masks on the entire movie.
Yeah, because then you have to worry about audio for them for the whole movie.
Yeah.
But that's when they get the recorded message that Aruto had Izu do, which shows Eden phoning in Aruto being like, by the way, I'm going to blow up the world and I'm going to go blow up the world. you have an hour to beat me, meet me here at this time. And Arto's like, well, I recognize he's got an arc-based driver. Should go handle that. That's where the message ends for them. And Izu just confirms that Arto's MIA at the moment, so she doesn't know where he is, because, well, I guess they all assume that shit went wrong. Because I guess they saw him get blasted through 3 buildings, but they don't know where he landed. At least I assume. But he continues to try to get answers. I think he does one of his Artoja night jokes here with the girl, and then she just kind of waves it off and walks away.
Yeah.
And I do like that Arto's like, shit, this is no time for jokes. Like, come on, give me answers here. And just keeps following her. But this is when we see the rest of the conversation through Izu, where Izu was going to accompany Arto, and Arto's like, no, stay, and then leaves. Because more or less Arto's like, I don't want you within 20 miles of me fighting anymore, because I can't take this twice if you die. Once literally broke me. I'm not doing this again. So at this point, Izu's done her delivery, so she's like, I'm gonna go back to Hidden Intelligence. And then Hirobi tries to, like, I guess, initiate her singularity by asking her, like, what does she really want? Does she really want to, like, not be with Arto? You know? But Fua points out, this is not the same Izu. She's kind of back at square one. So sad. I do like that Hirobi is trying after, you know, he's the one that killed Izu to start with.
I think that's the reason this kind of comes up, is because he's like, you're the one that told me that we don't just have to follow orders. Mm-hmm. And now you're just following orders.
Right, because she has none of the development that original Izu had. She's literally back at square one.
Which, that begs the question of how? Because in theory, wasn't Naruto going through everything that happened?
He was, but I guess even, like, sharing with her all the stories and stuff, like, isn't quite the same thing as having the experience. So she's maybe somewhat more than where Izu was at the start of the series, but not at singularity, essentially.
But it doesn't even feel like it's that.
Yeah. Maybe Aruto's plan just didn't work. I don't know. I'm not super worried about it because of what happens later.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's just, it's one of those, it's like, that's the one thing I'm like, that doesn't completely make sense either.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not a case of, oh, it's only been a few months, so maybe he just hasn't had time to go through everything.
Yeah.
Because we know time passes different when they're in the satellite.
Yeah.
So that's clearly not the case there. So that, one of those that is kind of odd.
Yeah. But at this point, this is when originally Izu contacts her, and then she's like thinking that over, and then it kind of looks like it errors. She gets an error code, so she's like, I don't know what I want to do, and she just kind of leaves, and then we don't see her for a while. So I guess she's still thinking about it, or like trying to make her way to the stadium, which thankfully she doesn't get there too soon, as we'll find out.
Yeah.
But at this point, Fua decides the smart move of, I'm just gonna fucking interrogate one of these Abaddons, and rips the belt off the suit because they're all just there in the suit. So he rips the belt off, except it then just turns into a cloud and there's nobody in the suit. And it's like, where's the person? Where's the guy I'm supposed to punch and interrogate? So this doesn't get revealed for a few minutes, but essentially Eden and all of his followers are in nanomachine based avatars, which is why they can regenerate and respawn and stuff, because there's no body. And technically the nanomachines can be dispersed, but they can just reform and then they're just back in action. But Hirobi sends some intel to Jin, who's back at Metsuba Genrai HQ, to look into, and Yaiba and Naki decide to take one of the, I guess, self-destructed Progrise keys from the Abaddons to investigate and figure out what they can from that end. But at this point, Jin sees something on his computers and he's like, oh, I need to go to them now. And then we see a fighter jet shoot at Hirobi and Fua. And then we get the best joke of this movie.
Yep.
Because
Yes.
Fua...
I busted out
and-
laughing the first time.
Fua and his infinite, you want to fight me? Let's fucking go. Square up mentality. Goes to transform into Punching Kong, except you hear the punching and then boom, because he's just gone. Because the jet tries to run his ass over. Well, Hirobi is just standing there like, what the fuck?
I love it.
It is the best joke of this movie.
And then it even gets better. That's what's perfect.
So now Fua's hanging on to this jet as Jin catches up, and then Fua again is just like, I want to fight someone. Gets to where the cockpit is, rips it open to find cloud of dust, and then Jin's like, they're nanomachines. They're just a pile of nanomachines. There's nothing to punch. And then Fua's like, shit, and then loses his grip, and then just boom, there he goes. And Jin's like, oh no, oh well.
I love that as Fua goes flying, Jin hollers gorilla. Doesn't even call him by name. No, gorilla. Oh well.
Yeah. And then he has to like try to escape this jet. And then eventually we cut to Fua on top of a rooftop that I guess he landed on. He's back in Rampage because he only gets to use Rampage, Shooting Wolf, and Punching Kong. He doesn't get to use Assault Wolf the whole movie.
Well, I mean, he technically doesn't even get to use Punching Kong.
It's true.
He gets to be ragdolled in that form, so...
But he's on the rooftop. He proceeds to blow up the jet, but then the jet's debris is coming at him. So Jin's like, fuck, I gotta go save him. Kicks him out of the way and gets dunked by the debris. And Fua's like, fuck Jin. And then he turns around and then there's 3 more jets. And he's just like, fuck. And then we hear him get shot at. And that's them done for a chunk of the movie. Which I'm sad we don't get to see the rest of their fight scene.
I kind of am too.
Yeah, because I don't think we got to see them team up in the show.
You're right, actually.
Yeah. But I love how Yaiba hears this and is concerned about Fua until Guy calls and is like, hey guys, I got intel. And Yaiba and Naki just have this look of just like,
you
what
again.
do you want? I love how eternally done everyone is with Guy. Like, it doesn't make up for the fact that he should be in jail for everything he's done, but everyone just being done with him and just like, we want nothing to do with you, is honestly kind of the same energy of everyone just being eternally done with Dan in
Yeah.
Xaid.
The only difference is Guy now no longer thinks that he's a god.
Yeah. On the downside, he's still not in jail. Because at
Yeah.
least Dan went to jail.
I mean, kind of.
He went to enough of a jail that we can still have him show up, because we have to have him show up.
Yeah, but we keep letting him out. And then he does something
Yeah.
stupid and then he gets put back.
Yeah. At least Poppy is the one that gets to dunk him back in jail with her plug visor. But Guy calls in to be like, hey, I got info for you. And it's later on, but I might as well cover it now. Him and a bunch of human gears interrogate the Zaya employee. And we essentially find out that at Daybreak Town, there was a company that was working on medical nanobots to help treat illnesses and stuff. And when Daybreak happened, they went berserk. And we don't see the result of that just yet. That's for later. But we do know that Esu is supposed to be dead because they found his corpse at Daybreak. So they don't know why he's still kicking.
Which,
also-
I mean, put two and two together, and yes, you've probably already figured out why.
Yeah. Also, the girl on the team was Ezu's fiance, or the girl we've been talking to the entire time is Ezu's fiance, who does not get named in the movie.
Yes, yes, she does.
Oh, okay.
At literally the very end.
Oh, okay. I was like, I swear she doesn't get named in this movie.
At literally the very end.
Yeah. That's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
But after this plot dump, we check in with Hirobi because after Fua took his jet ride, he spotted Azu nearby, and he's like, I should go follow her. So he follows her, and Ben's like, are you responsible for this? And Azu's like, yeah. Go have fun stopping him. Bye. Because Azu gets to eternally be a troll. I'm gonna be honest. This have you seen the Metswell General IV Cinema?
No.
Okay. I won't spoil that thing with Azu, but I wish we have more with Azu being this literal goblin child of I'm making evil riders. Because you only get to do it one more time for the Metswell General IV Cinema, and that's it. I'm like, I honestly wish, because since she technically has a writer form as Arc 01, that we had a whole special surrounding that, and maybe we give Izu a writer form and then have the two of them fight. Just throwing it out there.
But I mean, this movie already gives Izu a writer form.
I mean, true. That would work too.
You know, I'm honestly not mad at the way that this movie did it.
Mm-hmm.
For this simple fact of if it wasn't for Izu, 02 wouldn't exist anyhow.
I mean, yeah.
So, for all intents and purposes, yeah, that actually should be her writer form.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the few times that I'm like, yeah, we reused a suit, but story-wise, that fits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we cut back to Naruto now. Because him and the girl are at the church in the simulation, and through their conversation, we find out that Ezu's going to make a key that lets him make a very big bomb in the Thousand Jacker, and he's going to drop it and blow up the world with it. The key is the Hell Rising Hopper key.
Yeah. The key that may or may not attempt to kill Naruto.
Because Naruto's not allowed to have a movie form that doesn't attempt to kill him.
Or any upgrade to some degree.
Fair.
Like, really, Zero Two's the only upgrade that he's gotten that hasn't tried to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a problem now that I'm thinking about that.
I feel bad for Naruto. But she tries to stop this, but she can't do it from inside the simulation because she's essentially stuck in a simulation. she literally has no capabilities of interacting with anything. So Naruto's like, I'll take care of it, and then leaves, but she has him promise something else. And we don't hear it, but we'll see what it actually is later.
We don't hear it, and Zaya don't hear it.
Yeah. So Naruto wakes up in the crushed car and is like, fuck, I need a ride. Calls for a bike, expects it to come out of the sky. Except for Raiden to show up in a truck and trailer to be like, I heard you needed a bike. And delivers him a bike. And then that's Raiden done for the movie. Poor guy. I feel bad for him because he's honestly, like I said, the most expendable member of Metsubo Jinrai, and B, he uses a key that is better associated with a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be honest, Raiden should have been Mr. Assassin.
True.
Which is why, since this is the case, Mr. Assassin is the .NET of Metsubo Jinrai, since all of them have names in there. I don't think that's actually the case, but I refuse to let go of that headcanon.
I mean, fair.
Mm-hmm. But he heads out. We see Eden finish the Hell Rising Hopper key and the Thousand Jacker, and we now have 36 minutes on the clock. Because, by the way, I think the gimmick of this movie is that the timer is actually a real timer. I have not bothered to try to actually time the movie to see if that's actually the case.
I don't think it actually is. I think it's close enough to where you can't notice it.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel like it's off a little bit.
Cue me testing that at some point.
I don't know if I feel the urge to do that, so have fun with that.
Yeah. But at this point, Naruto shows up and is like, round 2! So he goes Metal Hopper as Eden transforms. And this time, Naruto actually went smart because he's like, he's got regenerative abilities. I need a counter. What if I use the Locust of Metal Hopper? And as it turns out, that actually works!
Yeah. What if I use the regenerating factor of Metal Cluster?
So essentially, he pushes Eden into a corner using the locust to eat away at the nanobots or the nanomachines to keep Eden from properly regenerating. So Eden is forced to go to plan B, which is to take the Thousand Jacker, shove the Hell Rising Hopper key into it, and drop the bomb early. Which Naruto realizes and goes, fuck, no. And unfortunately is too late because the bomb gets dropped, and I give him credit for trying to stop it.
I also kind of wonder if maybe he actually did negate some of it.
Probably.
Because I know later the movie implies that was not actually the spot where he was gonna dropped the bomb to kill the planet.
Right.
But I almost wonder if maybe he did negate some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that seemed like that should have been a lot bigger of an explosion than it was.
Well, it also is a premature charge of it.
I mean, true, but I don't know. It almost feels like maybe he did stop some of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Arto blocks it. It still goes through, decimates the building they're in, which I assume they're on like a top floor of this building, so it sends both him and Eden to the bottom floor of it, obliterates the building because there is nothing left of the building but debris, and destroys the surrounding area, and actually kills all of Eden's followers in the area. And I assume kill because I don't think they're in nanomachine bodies. At least these people are.
I think some were.
Yeah.
Because for as many people as was there,
there's not enough corpses.
Yeah, there was not enough corpses. I think the camera only intentionally panned over one person, but I mean, it was literally a camera pan to that one person.
I think there was a couple people in the background just laying, but yeah.
So, I mean, I almost feel like it wasn't as many as maybe tried to make it sound.
Yeah. But Eden recovers from this because, health regen, and he just walks off with the stuff. Arto is dropped out of Metal Hopper at this point and is just beaten up and is just limping along after Eden because, fuck, I gotta stop him. I'm not calling backup. I should probably call backup by now, but I'm not gonna. Because unfortunately, and I've realized this, Aruto and Edgy are cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
They're far too stubborn for their own good.
They will help anyone to their fullest extent and refuse to rope others into their mess. Yeah.
But this is when the interrogation of the guy by the human gears, because we have to have a man naked and we have to do everything to hide his penis in this movie for some reason. I don't know. There's a lot of work put in to hide this man's penis when we strip him naked, and I'm just like, you could have just not made him naked. This seems excessive.
I feel like we had a case where the creative team wanted to try to come up with so many off-the-wall moments that they possibly could. Just as like a last Hail Mary kind of deal for 01.
We also need something funny because, yeah, we kind of went dark there for a second.
Because I really feel like that because of the whole Fua and Jin moment earlier, and then we get serious, and then we come back to this, and it's like, yeah, I feel like this is just the creative team being like, yeah, let's just go bonkers. Mm-hmm. We got too serious of a movie, so let's liven it up.
We might have killed like 10,000 Death Cult members. We probably should put some levity in here for the kids.
Yeah.
But interrogating him gets him access to his case that has a special version of the Ziospec that allows them access to the ThinkNet servers, which then allows Yaiba, Naki, and Shesta to track down one of the members, and for Shesta to put him in an armbar to interrogate him.
I don't even think it was to interrogate him. I think it was just to make him stop and take his Ziospec.
That too, which, for reference folks, a properly applied armbar will pop your arm out of the socket within seconds. So, that man's going to the hospital.
He's a fugitive anyhow.
Yeah. But they apprehend him, get access to the ThinkNet server proper, which allows them to find where the servers are located, which is on a building, I think, labeled with ThinkNet on it or something.
I think it had something like that on it. It's like,
maybe we should have saw this coming.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Yeah. But we check in with Izu as this happens. She's recovered the 02 driver and the 02 progress key and the wreckage of the building because somehow that survived, but not the Rise Hopper. The Rise Hopper is in pieces. I guess, thankfully, the drivers and the progress keys are made of sturdy stuff.
Apparently sturdier than the bike.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the main Abaddons log back in, and they see the destruction. They're like, do you think he's going to traitor us? We should probably look into this. But after this, Izu actually accesses Zaya through the ZR2 driver and stuff and tries to figure out what to do. And then old Izu shows up and is just like, hang on, gonna need to upload my memories back into you so you're back to normal, because Arto's gonna do something really stupid and we're gonna have to go stop him. But yeah, this is when we see Arto limping along, and he very much at this scene, you see the gears turning for what he's going to do later.
Mm-hmm.
But then we cut over to Hirobi, because he has found the building and he's trying to access it, only for two of the main Abaddons and a bunch of the goon ones try to stop him. And then he just obliterates them because Hirobi gives no fucks. He ain't in the mood.
Well, I mean, now that he knows they're not actual people or human gears, he can just kill to his heart's content.
Yeah.
One of those, you shot at me, die.
Mm-hmm.
You're not dead yet, die.
Mm-hmm. At this point, the other Abaddons realize he's gonna pull a traitor, so they're off to go intercept him at the church. In the real world, at least.
To pull the trigger on the traitor.
Mm-hmm. And we've got 22 minutes on the clock. So now Eden and Aruto arrive at the church. Aruto tries to talk him down, but Eden's like, fuck that. He shoves the Thousand Jacker in and then pushes the button on the Hell Rising Hopper key. And Aruto's like, fuck, no. Charges him, wrestles the key away from him, and gets knocked away. And then he tries to hit the button to turn it off. Which I'm pretty sure that's not how that works, but...
Yeah, same.
It's Aruto at this point. He's desperate. So I'm sure he's just like, if I push the button again, it turns off, right? Because that's plan B.
Of course, I guess in the same mindset, they only ever push the button to activate the keys.
Yeah.
No one's ever actually tried to turn a key off.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I mean, this isn't as dumb as he kind of probably thinks it is.
Yeah. So Aruto realizing, I gotta destroy this key. How do I do that? Lands on plan C, which is to slam the thing into the driver.
Because that won't go wrong at all.
Yeah, and Eden points out, that thing is not meant for human use. And Aruto's like, not the first time I've done this. And just slams it in. And what follows is probably the worst thing that's happened to Aruto in a suit in this series so far. So he goes Hell Rising Hopper, and this scene changes from a church to, like, I guess some part of a quarry somewhere. As Eden is just like, oh, you're trying to destroy the driver and the key and yourself at the same time, because that's plan C. I'm not going to let that happen. Unfortunately, Aruto is now gone berserk because that's just what the key does.
I mean, that's what everything from the arc does.
Yeah.
I mean, for anyone that has forgotten, take a look back at Metal Cluster's debut.
So they're fighting, and at some point in the fight, Aruto punches Eden and breaks his arm. And it just like, you see it like fall limp and stuff. But then the suit painfully puts it back into place and repairs it. And it sounds like the most horrible thing is happening to Aruto. Good fucking lord, man. Can you have a movie suit that doesn't try to kill you?
Or for that matter, any upgrade suit that doesn't try to kill you.
Yes, because it sounds like he's in pain this entire fight. As the suit is literally trying to consume him. Like, I think that's worse than what happened originally with Metal Hopper.
Debatable?
Yeah.
Only for the simple fact of Metal Cluster's trauma to him was kind of mental more so than physical.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, debatable.
Yeah. Hellhopper is trying to consume him physically, while Metal Hopper was trying to consume him mentally. And both are incredibly fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, at least when he used the Force Riser, it was painful to Henshin. From there, it was normal.
Sometimes when he did the finisher, it was painful.
But I mean, it was bearable.
Yeah. So yeah, Eden gets his ass handed to him and gets knocked out of his transformation. And then Naruto, again, Berserk is just like, gotta destroy, hits for a finisher, and tries to kill Eden with a punch. Except, 02 slides in at the last second and takes the punch head on. And of course, if you don't know the spoiler for this movie, because I also want to mention that leading up to this movie trailer-wise, it always seemed to imply that Izu was going to become one of the 01 or 02. Or either 01 or 02, because in the trailer, they showed the two fighting together from the end of this movie. And it always seemed like with how the shots were lined up, it was going to be Izu. But I wasn't going to hold out hope because I'm like, they're not going to do that. That would be the fun thing to do. And then when spoilers for the movie came out, specifically an image from the booklet that showed 02 standing like Izu does, I lost my goddamn mind because they actually did it. So I refuse to spoil that for anybody if I can help it. So I'm sure this is supposed to be a shock moment in the movie of, wait, what do you mean 02 showed up? That's Aruto. How is 02 here? Because the transformation drops and you see it's Izu. And she pretty much talks Aruto out of the transformation because, please don't kill yourself trying to save the world, Aruto, please. Please don't do the stupid thing. So he manages to de-transform, eject the key out of the driver, and then the two of them share a nice little moment of catching back up because Aruto realizes that this is old Izu back proper.
I love the touch when Izu says something about how Aruto still hasn't taught her I forgot how it was worded, but yeah, and it kind of calls back to her last scene in the show. It's like, oh, I like that touch that Naruto's like, wait a minute. Oh,
and there's some real genuine like happiness from Naruto at this moment. Like, yeah, we reverse Izu's death. I know, and I hear it in the Solo Pop Discord from a couple of people, like, death is not permanent in Rider, especially not these days. Everybody gets to come back. But I'm like, this moment sells it. It's just like with Double, like, Shotaro's reaction to Philip being back sells it for me and makes me okay with it.
It's one of those, I'm fine with this for the simple fact of, really, we were going to get to this point eventually.
Yeah.
As we saw all throughout 01, human gears wind up reaching singularity at some point.
Mm-hmm.
He remade Izu, so at some point she was still going to get to this. So It's one of those, us just skipping that time instead fits better.
Yeah. Like I said,
it's one of the few times that I'm like, really? Yeah, let us cheating death kind of is that thing that happens, but this one works because it would have happened anyhow.
Yeah. And like I said, Naruto sells, like, being just genuinely happy that she's back. Yeah, the two of them reconcile. Eden recovers, but at this point, Naruto pretty much points out, what you're trying to do is fucked up, and who you're trying to do this for doesn't want this. What she wants is just to share a moment with you before essentially you both pass on, because you're both technically dead. Like, you should be using this time with her and not trying to blow up the world and trying to make her some screwed up paradise. Because I like that, once more, defeating the Arc, at least the Arc influenced writers, is not about defeating them, it's about talking them down and showing them, like, no, what you're thinking is wrong, this is why you're wrong. But they also get information now about his fiancée and stuff, because Hirobi's gotten access to the servers. And we also find out at this point that Eden's plan was to transfer all of the good, decent people into the servers and then blow up the world in killing essentially all the assholes. Because fuck them, they're the reason the Ark killed my wife.
AKA, he was going to kill all of his followers.
Yep. But yeah, and his fiance was one of the first people to test the medical nano machines, and when the Ark went berserk at Daybreak Town, hacked the nano machines, sent them wild, killed her, but he managed to transfer her consciousness to the servers. He eventually did that to himself, and thus the whole situation we are in now. But at this point, Eden realizes, like, his fucking mistake, tries to fix it, only to get shot by the arriving Abaddons. It's essentially a big group of them, plus two of the main ones. Actually, is it two of the main ones or just the one main one?
I think it was just the one main one.
Okay. Yeah, the one main one gets to show up here and is just like, oh, you're gonna traitor us. Well, fuck you, we're still gonna go through with the plan, and takes the Eden driver and becomes Kamen Rider Lucifer. Because we had to have an 11th hour villain, I guess, to punch. Because we've solved the main conflict.
Well-
We now have to take care of the other problem.
Well, I mean, you know, you can't just blow up Arc and Flint Striders. You have to have them pass their power to someone else that you can blow up.
Yep. But at this point, Arto's like, Eden, here's your fiance's ring. Go make amends. We'll take care of it from here. And I love that Eden leaves. Lucifer tries to attack him, only to be stopped by the attached caliber that gets embedded in the wall by Arto. He's the one that threw the sword at him and embedded it in the wall, because once more, Arto's fucking done. And thus, we get the wonderful moment of Arto and Izu transforming into 01 and 02, respectively. Although 01 is realizing Hopper, but I refuse to take anything bad away from this moment. It's beautiful and gorgeous. But they transform, they start to fight the Abaddons and stuff. And at this point, I believe the mix of the 01 and 02 themes start playing. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Which I listened on loop forever when it first came out, before we got to see the movie proper, because this is a glorious piece of music. And I love how much it works, even though it's a mix of two different songs. Almost like they were always meant to be together like this.
Which, who knows, maybe they were.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised that somewhere along the way, this was meant to be a moment in the show, which kudos if they actually pre-planned that. This should have been a moment.
So much if it should have been a moment in the show.
It should have been a moment with 01 in general, then.
That, yes.
But they're fighting the Abaddons and Lucifer in the church, and the fight spills outside with 10 minutes on the clock. Meanwhile, Hirobi walks outside, and there's the army of Abaddons going, we're gonna go blow up the servers. And Hirobi's like, yeah, sure you will. And then in comes Yaiba and Guy. They get to do an out-of-suit fight scene, which it's so weird to see Guy swinging around the Thousand Jacker.
Yeah.
And it's also weird that Hirobi's swinging around the Tash arrow, even though he's got his real fucking sword at his side.
Yeah.
Sir, why are you using your bow gun? Why are you not using the sword you carry around the whole show? That an alternate timeline version of yourself actually used on people.
I mean, he could even use it on them. They're not real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But at this point, Fua and Jin show up, just limping along like, hey guys, we finally fought off all the fighter jets. We're here to help. And so the five of them gather up, transform, and proceed to fight the Abaddons. And they're fighting the Abaddons and the other main ones for like the rest of the movie and blow them up several times over in cool fight scenes, because at this point, this movie is just all cool fight scenes. But we check back in with Izu and Arto. Izu's polishing off her Abaddons because... And I saw Taka from Kotetsu Toys point this out. Izu, I think, is using 02 better because she can, like, go, like, max speed on it.
I mean, yeah. Which makes sense.
Mm-hmm. But she takes out the Abaddons, joins Arto fighting Lucifer, and I have to applaud the choreography of the two of them fighting Lucifer, because it's very clearly shown, like, who's doing, like, what these two are doing in order to fight Lucifer. Because if you pay attention to the fight closely, you notice that Izu does a lot of blocking and a lot of intercepting of shots and setting up for Arto to help him punch and kick harder and also join him in fighting. Because Izu's making use of the predictive capabilities of Zero Two to get openings for Aruto.
Which
And
is
I love
immensely, it's immensely a funny and little touch that they've added in there.
Mm-hmm. Like, this is the stuff that, as a wrestling fan, I love of, we pay attention to what there's more to the fight than just they are punching and kicking. There is a story being told in the fight. Kudos. So they continue to wail on him. We've got 3 minutes on the clock. They push him back until he's just like, fuck it. Pop the big attack. And then the two of them are like, fuck that. Hit a finisher, or hit the finisher on the both of theirs. Just wail into him, knocking him around, setting up rider kicks. They rider kick into him as he tries to initiate the attack. Burn through the initial part of the attack into kind of just this initial block part or shielded part he's trying to do, and just lay into him the entire 3 minutes. But as the clock continues to tick, we check in with Eden and his fiance, and they get to have their little moment and have their wedding and stuff and reconcile before they're both presumably killed in the explosion of the servers later. I assume.
I assume.
Yeah. But with this, Izu and Naruto finally break through the shield, rider kick Lucifer, blow him up, blow up the Thousand Jacker with 16 milliseconds on the clock. Cutting it close, guys. Real fucking close. Jesus. But with this, the servers go boom, everyone goes back to their bodies, all the Abaddons go offline because they've got no way to make their nanomachine bodies anymore. The rest of the riders get together, have a laugh about Fua joining different teams because, he's out of a job currently. Except they all agree that, no, we'll never work for Guy, and then they all fuck off. Just Guy.
Yeah.
But Guy just does turn to the camera to be like, they'll like me eventually. And I'm like, no, they won't. If they could, they send your ass in first to handle a problem and then come rescue your ass later. If they felt like it. But we properly end the movie back with Aruto and Izu. Aruto kind of explains what the fiance told him and the simulation and stuff before he left. Izu hands back the 02 stuff, which I think I saw someone be annoyed about that, and I'm like, it's not like she can't just get it back. I wouldn't be surprised if this is shit, there needs to be two of us. Izu, catch. He just tosses her the driver and stuff, and it's just like, time for the both of us to get involved. As a break glass emergency situation.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's what I thought was going to end up happening in the Vulcan Valkyrie V cinema, since in that movie, Aruto is currently in space, working with, I think, Raiden and a couple other people on a space station, and Izu's back on Earth. I thought maybe Izu would show up as a rider, which is why she's in the movie. Because she shows up as 01 and then passes the 01 driver to Fua so that he can become the lone wolf form he gets. Because, I don't know, he'd be better at handling Metsubo Jinrai or something. I don't know. I figure Aruto left Izu with a driver just in case something went wrong while he was gone. But anyway, Aruto does a joke, and Izu just applauds it, and he's just like, one day I'll get this, and they just both leave, and that's the movie, folks. So how'd you feel about real time.
I felt like that was a good way of ending 01.
Yeah.
It
I've
it really kind of highlights a lot of aspects of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is now one of my favorite solo films. It's really good.
Also,
And
is it just me, or does it seem like Aiden's helmet might actually be a repurposed helmet?
what, do you think it's Rogue's helmet?
That's what I'm kind of wondering. Because I didn't notice it in the movie, but the image that I got from one of the posters there, that kind of looks similar.
Maybe it's. I think it's just because it's like vaguely the same shape.
I mean, it could be a repurpose kind of deal, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a blatant, oh yeah, that's clearly repurposed. Like, we've seen some of them.
Yeah.
But it's kind of got that vibe.
Maybe.
It would kind of be weird if it was only the helmet, though. Because the rest of the suit don't really look it.
Yeah. And I know Lucifer uses parts from other 01 suits. Because, for those wondering, yes, the Eden and Lucifer suits are two distinct different suits. The only thing they share is the chest piece and the helmet. Like, the arm and leg parts are actually new parts from other 01 suits. I know this because of Soto, where they had to go, yeah, we had to do Lucifer, and it has parts from like 3 different 01 suits for the arms and legs, and we can't use those because they're on 3 different figures, so we had to remold everything. Because that's just how Soto rolls. Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I think just the moment of Aruto and Izu transforming together, getting the fight together, solidifies it as a favorite of mine. Because the movie is, for all intents and purposes, it's their movie. And it's their kind of final bow. Because the V Cinemas are what it seems like it's the final bow for Metsubo Jinrai and then for Ames. Although the writer has said he wants to do a third V Cinema possibly, and for it to be Thouser. I don't know how interested I would be in a Thouser V Cinema, to be honest. If anything, like I said, this is kind of a finale for Aruto and Izu. This is the end of their story. Can we secretly get an Izu writer V Cinema? Because as much as I like her as 02, I wouldn't mind her getting like a suit of her own that is still 02 based, but is different. It's a custom I've had like a thought of wanting to do at some point. Was that? Because it'd be cool for her to have her own suit and stuff and own things, so that, you know, maybe one day we could have 02 in that suit together for a little anniversary special for the show. Just throwing ideas out there for like 10 years in the future. It's never going to happen, I know, but still. But yeah, any other thoughts?
No.
All right, then next week, because this is the end of our movies, because we don't have a date for Ryuki yet, so we're watching Den-O. But I have it all downloaded. At least I have all the episodes, and I think most of the movies that we'd be watching downloaded. I'm gonna double check and get a watch list together so we got an order of how all this is going to go. I'll probably end up doing that tomorrow or Tuesday. But we're gonna start our look at Dino in most of their movies starting next week. But between now and then, Thursday we pick up with Case 3 of Great Ace Attorney. Friday we continue Four Swords Adventure, and Saturday we do dumb things with Memory of Heroes.
Yep.
We do very dumb and poor decision choices with Memory of Heroes. So if you like what you see and drop a follow, I really appreciate it. Chipping away at that affiliate goal at TeachesZone on Twitter gets you updates when we're live. Next pitch point, Discord and chat. Get your Discord link. Drop by, say hi. See you Thursday, folks.